Can I go ahead? So we have other people.
Yes, we have all the people. You can start.
Yeah. Uh, I think we have a small demo on that in earlier session. So sorry. Yeah. So I'll try to target for this one today, this part, and I mean 60 part of this column. So just I'll give a small intro about the ESB and how Mule ESB is coming into the picture of why it fits into the ESB layer and what's the specialties of Mule ESB and why it is hitting market morely. Then we'll start jump into Mule Studio and just doing the basic kind of enhancements to the existing studio and how we can install the existing plugins and new runtimes to the Mule Studio. So all these kind of things we'll take care, and I'll give some kind of overview about the Mule architecture. Just I'm giving very high level information about the architecture and all. So and some kind of what is this flows, patterns, services, filters, transformers, routings, components available in MuleFlow, and these are also a part of integration pattern where a tool fits into the ESP layer. Then these are the design patterns that tool need to be followed at any cost. So how this is Mule ESP having these features and what kind of facilities we have by defaultly provided by the Mule ESP. So I'll create small project and I'll explain you the project structure of that Mule ESP and what each folder denoted for and what is the usage of each folder. That's where I'll cover up. Then I'll come to this part as again it's completely Mule related terminologies which are very important to this for the basics actually. So these are very important. So what is a Mule context object? What is Mule message object? Message sources, processors, payload, and what kind of different properties we have. So just I'll configure a small project and I'll show the different processing strategies and what is the logging and all those stuff. My target is like by at least I'll have 2.5 hour session just to finish off one basic Mule application and just will test that application and we'll see that how the Mule message and properties everything will be available and that's the target of this session for today. It's some kind of lengthy but I'll try to finish as I'll try to cover as much as possible today.
Okay.
Okay, Vikram, one doubt here. Like, suppose if we do a practice at home, okay, if we have any doubt, like how we are going to share the screen and all.
How?
We are going to share our
Sorry,
screen. Like, suppose, see, we are stuck up in any of the practice which we made it at home or in office. Okay. Like, if we have any doubt, like during the session or end of the session, like how we can share the screen, like to solve that issue.
Yeah, actually, see, this can be done. I mean, like, I can make you presenter so you can share your screen and we can resolve that issue. That's not a problem. But I can take that point in during our session only, like either start of the session or the end of the session. So either of the way, but not on another timings.
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
So I can make you presenter to share your screen and all those. That's fine. I mean, you can share me and I can explain you on that. Yeah. So coming to the ESB, so what exactly the ESB is like? It's by naming it says that enterprise service bus. So what are the features for this one? So in current industry, everything what we deal is like completely enterprise applications. So enterprise applications is nothing but they do a lot of business to the end customers in their existing design domain, business domain. So suppose like if I put an insurance domain or telecom domain, there are different kind of transactions will happen to do a complete end-to-end solution provided to the end customer, like data capture of the user and doing some kind of financial validations or storaging of that user data and providing some kind, because insurance is a different domain, so it has its own kind of cap functionalities to be implemented. So when to bring end-to-end kind of instructions, so currently every company they'll opt the best products in the best software products in the industry. So that is the reason at that when the different kind of products came into the picture, where in order to perform the different kind of operations, like suppose like if I want to get an insurance, what I'll do, I'll go to an insurance company and I'll provide some money, and at the end I'll get a complete quote or a policy from that company. To do this one, what that software, I mean like that software systems to be supported. So completely it has to capture the user data and what is like what exactly the person is looking for. It's a two-wheeler, three-wheeler, or four-wheeler, and there will be different kind of scenarios for two-wheeler, three-wheeler, four-wheeler based on the kind of policy person is looking for that. And based on that one, there should be a lot of transactions to be implemented, a lot of calls, I mean like software, nothing but there are a lot of integrations to be happen between the different systems. And then at the end, he has to pay some money. So there will be some financial related transactions will be there. So if I put this one into software products, so we to data capturing any different kind of data system like MDM, Teradata, or different kind of systems. If I put into the insurance, so we have a lot of insurance products like Evo and all. So if I'll use, if I need I have to get in best insurance related products, I can use one of the software product. To do the financial transactions, I have an Oracle Financial as one of the two. So now my requirement is like I need to integrate all these tools to do a complete end-to-end solution to the end customer. So when these kind of challenges are coming to the picture, at that point of place only this integration has been, there are integrations, but earlier those integrations are very tightly coupled nature, nothing but point to point kind of integrations. But later on, as industry moving has been increasing, so there has been separate integration layer has been brought up, nothing called as service bus. So service bus responsibilities is nothing but it brings a loosely coupled nature between the different end systems, and also it is having the capability to, its core responsibilities is nothing but doing the routing. Routing is nothing but call the exact system based on the condition checks or based on the logic what we implemented the ESP layer. Next is like the transformation, because each system will understand different kind of data formats. It could be XML, it could be JSON, or it could be some other format. So ESB will take that responsibility. To why? Because it brings a loosely coupled nature. Tomorrow, if a system has been replaced with another system, what are the dependent system should not impact more. So that is a core responsibility of an integration layer, and ESB plays that kind of role. And also do some kind of validation. Suppose like you are getting a request from a request exchange between the different system. So sometimes we may give invalid request. So what is the point of giving invalid request to the exact business system? There's no point of that. So you can do that kind of validation. Even security kind of validation can also implemented at ESP layer. So these are the very basic responsibility of an ESP, and it, even though these are the basic responsibility, it has to support as ESB is also maturing day by day. Earlier it was only meant for these kind of jobs. Now it is getting mature to different kind of operations, like doing a batch processing. Nothing but if you deal with a large processing of the data, so you will not process entire GBs of data in a single shot. You will do in a batch modes, like 10 MB file as a one processing, next 10 MB file as a next processing. So that kind of batch processing also will be kind of implement, can be have the capability to the ESPs. Next, file transfers. It's a simple, like you can read a file, you can write a file to explicit external location. It could be FTP, it could be SFTP, it could be a file. Next, shared database. It's nothing but different. There is no difference in that. If you have a rack-based kind of data setup over there, or different kind of databases are there, like Teradata, Oracle, MySQL, MS SQL, these kind of databases can be interacted from the ESP layer. There is no doubt about that. So different kind of messaging patterns like request response or synchronous or asynchronous. So it's a, but so all these kind of features can be supported by an ESP layer. And earlier the industry standard is like ESP only meant for doing a transformation or routing validation kind of purpose. You no need to, you should not build a business logic because of the stateless natures of the ESPs. Most of the ESPs are stateless natures too. Why? Because they designed in such a way that to bring the more performance or more responsiveness between the end systems actually. So when you don't have a stateless object, by default it's a performance, because you don't, state means you will store entire transaction data into a database tables or into a file system. When you don't have that kind of implementation, by default it is a more performance, more responsive tool, I can say that. So these are the very high level features and high level implementations which an ESB can be taking care, and which ESB has to do that. Any tool need to be fall under an ESB layer should follow these patterns, should follow these functionalities. Then only it will be categorized under the ESB tool. Otherwise, if it says that I'll only support request response, I'll not support one-way kind of invocation, then it's not an ESB tool. We can put in that points. So it's a very high level overview of an ESB, but just I want to give some flavor of that one. Then I'll come to Mule ESB. So these are one of the screenshots which I got from Mule soft site only. Why? Because this screenshot shows that what Mule ESB is actually. If you really observe the screenshot, this is your Mule ESB. If you see that, the agenda or the slogan I can say from the Mule is like connect everywhere and connect everything, or it will say that connect every dot in the world. Connect every dot. Every dot, the dot could be your a physical system software product, or it could be lab product, or it could be your API, or it could be your mobile, or it could be your iPad, it could be your laptop, or it could be any kind of human, it could be any kind of mission. Nothing but it is targeting in a such a way like that IoT frameworks, because nowadays the market is completely is injecting with more IoT related implementation. So Mule is already is targeting into that kind of implementation. Tomorrow, if you want to bring an IoT solution to somewhere, so Mule is one of the place where you can really utilize it. So even if you observe this screen, so you can see that there are lab kind of system connections are there. There are different kind of data centers are there. There are different kind of mail systems. You can see that there will be mobile. You can connect to different kind of mobile capable systems, and this is some kind of mainframe system. You can denote like that. You can see these are like missions. So by using a Mule ESB, you can connect. The target is like they want to connect every dot of the industry. That's the core target of the Mule ESB. Because the kind of solutions what they have is they have inbuilt cloud connector support. They can where they can connect to different kind of end system, and they support to different kind of data formats like XML, JSON, file, and even Java related objects. They support the scripting kind of technologies. So, and also they have the capability to expose an APIs from the Mule ESB, because currently everyone is asking APIs. APIs is nothing but it's a moreover a plain kind of data transform between, it could be an HTTP or it could be some kind of, but moreover people look at the plain HTTP kind of exposure from the Mule ESB. So that kind of capability is there for Mule actually. And next, what kind of advantages Mule is having? By default, Mule supports all the ESB functionalities are the patterns which I mentioned in the earlier screenshot. So that is a core reason it's presented under ESB. It's not a integration suite, it is just a service bus. So we have an integration. There are two categories will be there. One is like service bus, one is like integration suites. If you heard about TIBCO, Pega, Oracle, SOA, these are like integration suites, but they are not like ESBs. If you heard about JBus, OSB, uh, next is Mule ESB, or we have different kind of ESB tools in the market. So there is a clear-cut difference between an ESB and integration suites. So integration suites are very big components, and where they are like state objects, and you can build a big business logics under the integration suites, but where ESB is not meant for that. But still we do the logics creation in the ESB. So it's either of the way, like your project budget and everything will be into the picture. Next, what are the advantages of the Mule ESB? So why we are going for Mule ESB? What is the first advantages with the Mule ESB? When you see when you get to know about the Mule ESB, is like it provides both on-premise and cloud-based solutions. When you develop an application, you can deploy to an on-premise application. Next is like you can deploy that one to a cloud-based solution. So till now, I mean, like it is very latest tool, like 4 years back, it is getting emerged to the market. So it came up with that strategy. The same application when you deploy to on-premise, without doing any tweaking to the same application, nothing but Mule code, you can deploy that to Cloud Hub account. So no need to do any kind of tweakings or enhancements to that code to deploy to a Cloud Hub. So that cannot, that is not that is the easy, I mean that much of scalable and maintainable code what Mule has been provided. The next advantage what Mule is having is the cloud connector support. So today, if I choose a tool like Oracle product or TIBCO or Pega, if I want to do an integration between the Salesforce or NetSuite, these kind of systems, if I want to do that, what really I have to do is like I need to get the WSDLs or API HTTP REST-based expositions of the Salesforce, and I can do the integrations. So it could be very some kind of tough job, but I'm not saying that it is not achievable. It is achievable, but when we compare with the same kind of integration in Mule, it's very easier in Mule, because by default Mule provided with the Cloud Hub cloud connectors. Cloud connectors are nothing but now currently Salesforce is completely has been moved to the cloud solution. So they will not. It's not like any easy when the systems are moved to cloud solutions. The kind of connectivity between the different systems will be somewhat changes. So when we interact with those systems, but when we have a cloud connector kind of implementations, so by default, what we can provide is like we will provide the connection parameters of that system, and we'll try to implement the operation or the entity or the object which we want to do for our requirement. Something like if I put in Salesforce world, if I want to create a contact in Salesforce account, I'll select that entity in the Salesforce Cloud Connector itself. So currently, that is the where Mule has been aggressively injected to market a lot, actually, because of the by default cloud connector support. And also one more thing is like MuleSoft is also provided options to develop the own cloud connectors by the people. Like it could be anyone in the world who can write the cloud connectors by using the Java code, and you can provide that code to MuleSoft, and if they like your code, they can do the business with the people. So it's a kind of freelancing kind of stuff what the Mule is having. And the next advantage is like, so by using the Mule application, you can expose a SOAP service, you can expose a REST service, you can expose a plain HTTP service, nothing but API kind of implementation. So that kind of support is there. So when if you put that, if currently every in the industry integration tools are more tightly coupled to the WSDL based services actually. So REST is there still, but the kind of, when I say that, if you see in the percentage wise, most of them are morely tightly nature to the XML along with the WSL. But Mule is not like that. It has the capability to support SOAP-based WSDL with XML data format and plain HTTP with XML or JSON. So because now the current data format is completely moving to JSON related strategies. Next is the kind of security. So it supports OAuth 2 kind of implementations by default. So you have that advanced security feature implemented. So there are a lot of features, but these are the very high level and which are very impressive parts of the Mule ESB. And next one thing is like Mule ESB is a stateless object. So it will not store the transactions into any of the down layer servers. It doesn't have any kind of implement. It has in memory, but that in memory will not store entire transaction data, something like that. So we have to bring our own logging strategies or nothing but tracing utilities on top of by using the logging mechanisms in Mule. So this is a high-level picture about the Mule ESB, what Mule ESB, what the capabilities it is having, and what kind of functionalities it does. So by default, as I mentioned, right? So it has its inbuilt transports and connectors. So both are, when I put about the transports and protocol connectors, both are resembles to the same kind of notation. So HTTP is a transport, but it also plays like a connector, because if you want to connect, yeah.
Vikram, this is Uday. If you don't mind, could you just put that in full view, like a slideshow? Slideshow will not.
Sorry. I can make full screen. One second. This one?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, thanks. Is that in slideshow?
Sorry.
Is it going by itself?
No, I'm going. I
Oh,
will
okay,
change.
okay. Okay, thanks.
So this is some kind of high-level graphical picture for the Mule ESB, just to show what kind of capabilities or functionalities it is having. So if you see the middle layer bus, it's having a lot of transports and connectors. So when I put this is a place where we used to get confused a lot, even myself when I started learning Mule ESB. So there is a slight difference between a connector and a transport. So if I put a connector in the sense it is a functionality provided by the Mule to connect to that kind of system, to connect a system. So suppose if I put that word to Salesforce, I have a Salesforce Cloud Connector. I use that Salesforce Cloud Connector to do a connectivity between from my Mule to Salesforce domain for that username and for that provided credentials. If I put the same word to transports also plays that kind of role only. Transports are moreover what we can speak. It's like HTTP, JMS, file, database, RMS, TCP, or IMAPS, or SMTP. These are the kind of transports what we have currently. So we have this kind of transports available in the market. So transports also nothing but it is also provides a connectivity between the from that end system to the Mule. So there is a slight difference over here is like connectors are when we do configurations in Mule application. So on connectors or transports, suppose like on connectors we will only provide the connectivity details. We will not write any kind of enhancements or some extra functionalities to be done during the kind of connection happening. But on transports configurations we can do that. Something like if I put like JMS, I can mention like this is a queue name and this is a server name and this is a port name. But in general, when we implement a connector, so it is utilized as a global value, so where we can reutilize that configuration across the multiple projects, across the multiple Mule services in a single project actually. So I'll give a clear picture on that one, but you will have a slightly doubt on the transports until unless we do one or two kind of examples. So next is like if I come to this part, this is the things which I mentioned. So it has a capability to do routing, nothing but call a different application or call a different services within the Mule based on some logic executed. Next is like transaction management. Yes, even though it is a stateless objects, we can implement the transactional scopes or transactional involvement of the different systems like JMS or database or VMs. We have different kind of mostly JMS and DB is the one place where we can bring the transactional nature in Mule, because as HTTP is like transactional less protocol. So next is transformation. So we have a lot of transformations can be done. Transformation is nothing but the data format, change it from JSON, XML, Java, or CSV, MS Excel, or we have different other kind of formats where we can change from a format to another format by using a lot of tools. Next is like message broker. So these are some kind of queuing kind of concepts which we have, so which we can implement using that. Next is like transport management. It is nothing but different kind of end systems connectivity. So we can do some kind of, while we are doing a connectivity between the different systems. So there can be profiling concepts or some kind of I can say that I mean moreover I can say that profiling concepts or security kind of things which we can implement on different protocols actually. Next is like by default by default you will not get any security palettes on the Studio. We need to explicitly inject that to Studio. So we have different kind of security features like encryption, decryption, credential vault, WAS to support. So these kind of security features are there. So if you are implementing WSDL based kind of implementation, so it's completely the security part will be implemented at WSDL level. So if you are going for a plain HTTP or something like that, at that point of place, this security palette will play a big major role actually. Next is this one, sorry. So app container. So by default, Mule comes with two app containers. One is called a standalone and one is called MMC. So standalone is nothing but a freeware kind of stuff where we, like if you are really don't want to go for amount related stuff and you don't really need a GUI based kind of consoles. Suppose like for WebLogic you have a GUI based, for Apache Tomcat we have a GUI based consoles, right? So if you really don't require in that kind of manner, only you want to deploy your applications to some server, and you want to hit that URLs from your local system or from even in your real-time implementations. So at that time of point, you can use the standalone servers. Other than that, Mule has been provided one kind of web related solution called MMC. It's nothing called as MMC, Mule Management Console. So that is nothing but it's a WAR file actually. It's a web application where you can deploy that MMC application on any MMC application on any application server. Nothing but you can deploy that MMC on Tomcat, WebLogic, WebSphere, JBoss, JD, and also you can deploy onto Amazon. So currently the people mostly deploys the MMCs on Amazon actually to bring another kind of cloud solution. So that is one of the loosely nature of the application container what Mule is having. So it's not only says that okay, once you download from the net, it comes by default with the Tomcat actually. So you no need to only go for Tomcat. You can still go for WebLogic or WebSphere, but a little bit of tweaking need to be taken care at the WebLogic or WebSphere level. So when you want to host the MMC on that containers.
Okay,
so
quick question, Vikram. What is that? I'm sorry, I couldn't follow you. MMC. I thought it will come with MMC is an application server, or is the context, or what is that? And you said again there is an application server Tomcat.
Yeah, MMC is a web application actually. So it's a kind of .war file provided by the Mule. So which is also a Mule server actually, in the sense it's not exactly an application server, it's a Mule server. So you can deploy that Mule server on top of any application servers to run that. It's a web application.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. Next is so that is one of the more advanced feature, but mostly people goes with the Amazon in order to buy Cloud Hub account. So mostly people gets MMC license and deploys to Amazon. So these are the different kind of systems where it can connect to different kind of domains, I can say. So currently B2B is coming newly. Actually, till now we don't have the B2B. I mean, Mule doesn't have the B2B support, in the sense not like we don't have existing connectors or we don't have existing EDA formats conversions for B2B. So we used to go for a free marker template or different kind of utilities provided in the market. So we write Java code, we create an EDA file out of that and give to the end system caller. But currently that support is there. There's a different transformation tool has been implemented, it seems, from latest version. So different kind of data systems, connectors, you can write custom connectors and you can connect to any kind of systems. So portals, different kind of portals in the sense like different end systems, applications, different business systems we can connect to by using the Mule. So by using a support of connector or by using a support of transport, we can connect to different kind of business application, nothing but software products. So this is an overall Mule facilities functionalities wise or facilities wise, I can say. Any points on this?
You said you can deploy to Amazon. Is that you're saying you?
Yes, you can deploy
You
that
need
MMC.
you
Sorry?
still need application server, right? So are you saying you can deploy it on to using Tomcat on Amazon, or what will you use on Amazon? There still need to be an app server.
Exactly. I mean, like Amazon runs on some particular server, right? So if you have an Amazon a cloud solution available for you, if you have an Amazon cloud host solution account to you, if you provide that MMC var file, it will run on Amazon cloud solution. I mean, cloud hosting.
It doesn't need a app server.
Which one?
The MMC, if you deploy it to Amazon.
I mean, like Amazon clouds. Amazon itself is an application server for you, right? Amazon cloud solutions. That's what I mean to say that.
Okay.
So Amazon, it will have its own application server. So you are deploying on Amazon application server, which could be the cloud solution, or it could be in your on-premise, because Amazon is completely a cloud hosted application service. So where
Correct.
you can
But
deploy.
Amazon, I mean, the question is Amazon can host anything. It can just give you a server for rent.
Yep.
It can give you an application for rent, or
Exactly.
so what? So is this Amazon stuff you're talking about, the MuleSoft's cloud solution?
No. See, I'll tell you one point. See, when I speak about the MMC, it's a .var file which internally contains Mule server, not application server, just a Mule server.
Correct.
So you can deploy that Mule server to any kind of application server.
Correct.
So Tomcat is application server, WebLogic is an application server. So Amazon itself is having its own application server, right? So you can deploy this mmc.var to that Amazon web application server, where it will make up, but straightforward it will not up and running. So you need to do some kind of tweaking to the configurations. That's the only concern point we need to be taken care. But when you download MMC from the MuleSoft site, it will come with the Tomcat.
Okay.
Clear?
Yeah. Right. Thanks.
Yeah. So this is the architecture what Mule uses, called as SEDA, staged event driven architecture. So staged event architecture is moreover it comes with a queue natured kind of architecture. So nothing but all the like the Mule server itself is designed in such a way like that. So everything is divided into the stages. So something like, okay, you got a request, that is one stage. Processing that request is one stage. Once the processing is happening, it comes to giving back stage, nothing but response stage. Once response stage is nothing but it's totally the request has been served completely. So this is called as a staged event driven architecture. So all these staged event these are called different stages, like request stage, processing stage, and completion stage or response stage. So these stages are communicated with the queuing nature actually. So if you see this diagram, so even the starting position and ending positions are designed with the queues stuff. So whenever a request come to the Mule server, immediately every request will be injected to a queue, internal queues. So I'm just upfrontly I'm telling this point, don't relate this one to your messaging patterns to the request response, or don't relate to your JMS configurations on your application on your Mule services, or in general what you've done till now, your development kind of stuff. So everything here it happens at the backend level. So Mule has been just don't try to relate that point to here, because just there will be confusing on that. So whenever a request comes to the Mule service or Mule server, so immediately all that requests will get pumped to the internal queues actually. Once the queues has been got a request, or some data has been request has been captured in that queues, all the events, nothing but when a data comes to the queue, it's nothing but an internally an event will get generated, or some alarm will get generated, where we will have a different kind of profilers, nothing but this is called receiving profilers, this is called dispatcher profilers. So all these receiver threading profilers, nothing called as event handlers here. So all this will get the request from the particular from that queues, and it will give to the particular applications of the server where all the Mule services got serviced, got deployed or get to be processed. So what is advantage? I mean, like this is what I have studied or which I was observed. I can say that. So when you have this kind of mechanism, so the number of requests will get processed will be somewhat more when we compare with a normal EDA kind of architecture, nothing but event-driven architectures. When you don't have the queue kind of natures, so all the requests will get come to you directly, and each one will run on its own threads. Yes, that is well and fine. And you will have some kind of optimization using the threading profiles, saying like, okay, 100 requests can be served in a single shot of span. But when you have a queue nest, even though if you configure 100, there might be chances of processing at least 120 requests in a single point of place. Even the profiling value is 100 set to. Even the profiling value is set to 100, because once you get the data into the queue, immediately it gets processed and the queue will get emptied by default in a single shot. So, and even as I mentioned, right, every stage will be separated with the queues actually. Internally, that they have designed in such a manner, every stage will get separated with the queues. So once you get the receiver threading queues available, it gives to the processing queues. Then that processor queues, again you have a profile concept, and it will give to the different application, goes over processing. Once the processing is completed, it goes to the dispatcher queues actually. So again there will be profiling concept. Nothing, yeah, profiling, why I'm using profiling concept is nothing but it's moreover the number of threads what you giving the thread count what you want to configure according to your requirements actually. So but high levelly, if I speak everything here, the transaction, the request journey will happen completely via queues to the applications. So it gets to the queue, picked up by the profilers, event handlers, given to the processor queues, and those will be picked up by the processor handlers and serve that request, do the complete logic, and insert into the dispatcher queues or response handlers and give the response back to the caller if it is a two-way. So with this kind of nature, what Mule claimed is like it is a more high performance and more request serving application. It's in, if I put in that way, so it's a more request serving applications and with a less failure. Suppose like Mule challenges something like if you have a best optimized configurations, it will never say that your server is busy in processing the number of requests what essentially we used to see with some of the banking sites, right? So that kind of issues we will not see in Mule. That's what I've read in the documentation, but in general I've not seen that scenario till now. But this is an overall high view about the Mule architecture. The bad part is like we didn't see have any documentation from the Mule, but this is where one of the I mean like one of my team has been done with this actually, so which I'm utilizing for you guys. So any points on this?
I think the only thing is we can't see what is written on the diagram clearly. So other than that, I think we understood it's mostly.
Yeah, actually, that's even I didn't get that point. I mean, I didn't get that captured correctly. So yeah, I'll try to modify and I'll send it while I'll send it this for you guys, right? So just I'll try to write some naming on that and I'll send it to you. But more or
No
less,
problem.
it's a queues, everything under that. That's it.
Yeah, I understood what you're talking. Only thing is I can't see which queue you're talking about. Probably the first and the last I understood, which is the dispatcher and the receiver. And
Yeah.
in between, I couldn't see any names, so I assume they are used for some processing.
Yeah. So this is for processing. These are like handlers. Again, these are also some kind of queue natured stuff actually. If you see handlers queues. So this is end
Okay.
queues.
Okay.
So this will cover later. So with this, we just covered some basic information about the Mule and Mule architecture. Now I'll just guide you how we can, where we can download the studio. If you download that studio, well and good, but just I'll give a 5 minutes, 2 minutes overview on that. So now the studio name itself is called as Anypoint Studio. So if you remove the studio word in that itself, you can see that Anypoint. So again, the intention of the Mule like connect everywhere. Any point you can connect. So just download Studio. So on the right side, download. Once it loads, it will ask for basic information about yourself to get download. So it's completely your stuff where you want to, what kind of details you want to give. Just you can give it. Once you provide some details, you click on download. It will give the different kind of operating system based studio versions. If you have Mac, it will give the Mac supported. If you have Linux, you have Linux supported. If you have Windows support, Windows. And once you select Windows, again it will ask for the version. I mean like a bit version. Either you want to looking for 32-bit or 64-bit. So you just select that one, it will get downloaded. It's nearby 700 MB. Just I'll show that once you download what you will get in your system. So currently this is the latest version. Anypoint Studio. I have Windows, so I'm downloaded for Windows based. So Windows 64-bit 5.4.0. So this is a patch number or version name. This is a version number because you should aware what is the version of the studio you are using. This is a studio version. I'm stressing this point. So and this is the patch number, you can assume in that way. So it comes in a plain .zip manner. So there is no extra hurdles to install. Yeah, sorry.
Should we use the latest version of this? Because if you are trying to put up a resume, does it make sense saying like I'm using 543?
See, you can download the latest studio, but the runtime, the Mule server runtime we are going to use is 3.6.2, which is the currently stabilized version in the market. But currently Mule is released with 3.7.3 in the last month, but which we are not touching because every 4 months you will get a new release. So you don't worry about that. But studio version you can use anyone. There's no problem that. Still, only the concern point, the more point people will look is the runtime. What Mule runtime you worked on. So you can mention 3.6.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. I might need your help later when I modify my.
Yeah. Definitely, I'll help you on that. No problems.
Thank you.
So this is the .zip file. Even any kind of OS you are using, this is the one which you will get. Just extract it. So this is a folder Anypoint Studio. So these are basic folders what you can see. So here only one thing we will tweak here. It is this .ini. So sometimes we may feel we may have memory issues, right? Sometimes because of the RAM capabilities of the system. Recommended is 4 GB. So if you guys have more than 4 GB, well and good, there won't be any problem. If you have less than 4 GB or at least 4 GB RAM, at that point of place you may feel memory leaks and all, or as today is not running, where Java giving memory issues. So at that point of place you need to tweak with 1024. These are one of the only simple configuration which may require, but usually 99% we don't require, but for safer side I'm telling. So this is will be under the .exe. You have a .net. So all the extra plugins, servers, or the extra components, or the existing components you downloaded are available with the Mule Studio. Will be available in these places. So at sometimes you may need to, instead of downloading that on Studio, if you get this file, usually it's a zip file again, you just extract it and you can copy paste that into this location, plugins location. So by default it will be available on the Studio. But it's not recommended, but still sometimes if your studio is not able to download that from the downloader site, so another people, suppose I'll put a simple scenario. So earlier I used to download one NetSuite connector actually for my requirement. I got some issues, I was not able to download that NetSuite connector on my studio. So already my colleague had that connector downloaded on his studio. What I have done is like we went to these plugins and we went to that particular plugin version and everything. We just copied this to my studio location. So it was available to me. So it's a simple workaround I'm telling. If you face that kind of issues, so you can, this is a one place where you can explicitly add manual. I mean, manually you can add that software or plugin to the studio. So yeah, rest of the stuff, nothing. Configuration, we don't touch much of this stuff. So to open a studio, so this is the .exe. So you just select workspace, but I'm going for another version of the studio, so there won't be much difference in the look or everything. Just give workspace. So if you have experience on Eclipse IDE or some kind of Spring IDE workbenches, you feel that the studio will be, to be upfront to that one, Mule Studio is developed on top of Eclipse only, so it will have its own Eclipse plugins and all related. It looks more or like Eclipse kind of stuff when you develop your applications, or what are the configurations you do on IDE, right? So it mostly resembles to the Eclipse IDE. So when you open for the first time to your studio, so by default everything will be empty. So currently I have some projects, so this is the reason it is filled with some project names. But other than that, everything will be simple empty for you. So two things. First, before starting our creation of the projects, there are the two things which we need to configure. One is like Maven, nothing but pom.xml file, Apache Maven, and next is the JDK. So by default, if you have a Java running on your system, like by setting, which is already configured to Java home. So when you run your studio, by default, studio will get that reference to the studio plugins. So nothing but Java runtime will be available to the studio by default. If your system not having Java runtime and you already ran with your studio, so then you need to configure the JDK plugin, JDK runtime injection to the studio, because everything is Java, right? Without servers run on Java, you have the utilities which are running on Java. So we need to make sure that Java has been injected, Java has been supported to your studio actually. So first I'll show how to configure the Java. Next is Apache Maven. So because Mule recommends, or Mule recommends, are the best practice point of view, Mavenized projects are the best way of implementing the Mule projects. But our practice, our implementation purpose, I'll explain one project with a Mavenized. So we are no need to do much R&Ds on that, but it's just pom.xml file. I'll show that. But later on, some projects will create a non-Mavenized projects. So first, to configure Java, click on Windows, Preferences, sorry. So expand Java. So next, click on installed JRS. So the recommended version for 3.6 runtime is 1.7. So try to have a Java JDK 1.7 runtime at your local laptops, or computers what you are using. So that is a recommended for Java version. So already I have everything, so that is the reason it is populating. If you see that really this screen is empty at your studio once you download studio and once you open this place, if you see empty, so you can go for add to add a runtime to your system. Let me copy this one first. Click on add, select standard VM, go to next. So this is the JRE home where you can select. So already anyway, so you can give the JDK location or JRE. So usually we provide JDK home path only. So where it is there, not till bin, it's before bin only, that is fine. It's a home path. Then give the name what you want to give it based on your just your thought process. That's it. Then click on finish so that it will be available to the system. Now you can see that it is available here. So if you want, by default, if it is 1, it will be checked automatically. If you have multiple, suppose like if you have 1.8, if you have 1.6, something like that based on for your work. So make sure that which runtime you want to use with a check mark over here. So that's where you can see that. So I don't want to do this. I'll just delete this one. So this is how we can configure a JDK to the system. So by default, I believe you have a Java's already, so it will come. So no need to worry. But try to go this location and verify whether Java is plugin is injected or not correctly. That's it.
Hi, Vikram.
Yeah.
Vikram,
Yes,
I
tell me.
downloaded the studio, and when I tried to, should I just unzip it and click on the anypoint studio.exe? Is that what I need to do?
Exactly. You need to unzip and go to that anypoint folder and click on .exe.
But it is throwing an error for me saying it doesn't fail to load the JNI shared library JRE 1.4.2 some bin client jvm.dll.
It is coming like a one more pop-up kind of screen like that.
Correct.
Big pop-up screen. Oh, okay. That's where your I showed one configurations, right? INI. What is your system RAM?
It should be 8 GB probably.
Okay. So Windows or Mac or
Windows 64-bit.
so you downloaded 64-bit only, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Go to that INI folder and try to increase that 512 to 756, something like that.
Where is that INI folder? Oh, the anypoint studio.ini.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, in that. Oh, you are saying
see memory increase.
The XMS and XMX.
Yeah.
How much should I give?
Give 756 and at the down 1024.
756. The up is already 1536.
Okay, but the minimal level is try to give. No. If you see the term size is what is this one? It's the 8th line. In your, if you see my screen, what is this value at your system?
Oh, what? Form size. Form size is 512.
Yeah, try to give 1024 like that. It's yours already 8 GB, right? No.
It's still giving the same error.
Okay, what I'll do is like once we're done with the session, can we look on that? Is that fine?
Okay.
Because we can have that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. Where I was, yeah. Okay, that's where we can configure the Java stuff. Next is like, as I mentioned, right, we need to have a Mavenized related project, nothing but pom.xml to inject the Maven to the studio. How we can do that? So again, click on Windows, go to Preferences. Now under the Expand Anypoint Studio, click on Maven settings. So before that one, you need to have a Apache Maven software with a one runtime. I mean, like currently it is 3.5, I think. So you can go with 3.1.1. Sometimes Studio will not have the capability to understand the latest runtime, latest Maven versions actually. So we are not worried about what kind of Maven it should be the latest, something like that. So we are not really bothered about that one. So just have one Maven downloaded with you, like 3.11, which I'm using. So you can have the same kind of version download from the net, and it's also a zip file. That unzip it to some specific location and configure that here. So under the Maven settings, this is the Maven home directory, and make sure that these are the two checkboxes enabled, like enable Maven support in Anypoint Studio and make automatic maintenance of pom.xml. So by default, just please check these two things so that all the Maven will run automatically when your application, when your studio is up and running. So it will get the downloaded, relevant downloaded in the from the configurations. And this is just leave it. No need to change this one. this is a run goal, or this is a command what we utilize. Clean package is nothing but whenever you run pom.xml, it will it create a packaging. Nothing but it creates a .zip file for the Mule project. So that is called Mule packaging style. So next, by default, it will be for you. It will be different, like com.mycompany. Still, you can modify this one, but it's not recommended. Just to make sure that whether your Maven has been configured correctly or not, just click this button. That's it. So once you get a right mark with a green color, so it shows that you have the Maven configurations correctly injected to your studio. That's where you can simply put that point. So, but these are more configurations wise where you need to look up for that one. So this is until unless you don't do this one, we cannot create a Mavenized projects in the Mule. Next, currently, as I mentioned at the starting points, by default, any point studio comes with different kind of components or the connector support when you download it from the net. And it also comes with the default server runtimes. Actually, it could be with 3.7 or something, some version which is available in the current downloaded. But we may have some kind of requirement to be implemented on different runtime, or I need to have an explicitly another cloud connector which I want to use for my support. So at that point of time, then I need to have an extra components to be installed on my studio. So how can I do that? So this is that point. So go to help menu, select the click on new software. So by default, this install tab will come with a different kind of links available here. So if you see that these are something like add-ons button, and this is like connector. Suppose like if you want to deploy, if you want to install any cloud connector by default which is not come with the studio, you can if you want to download that one. So this is the option where you can go for that. And if you see that there are different kind of categories we have, but usually we go for two kind of categories. Either one is like premium is nothing but it's a kind of more paid manner kind of stuff. Community means it's something like freeware kind of stuff, but still what I can say is like you will get the like you will get the exact requirement from your clients or the party vendors. Suppose like if I want to integrate with the Microsoft Dynamics, just I'll type here. So you can see that Microsoft Dynamics CRM connector is there. So if you see that one, it is come under the standard section. So you can go for that option and select that particular runtime, because now you need to make sure that on which runtime you are working, and whether that cloud connector is supporting to that connector or not. If you observe here, it is running on 3.7, 3.5. So if you download this one, it is not capable to like it is developed on 3.5 point runtime, but it may not run on 3.4. If you download this one and if you are working on 3.6, it will not work out. So you need to make sure when you are downloading a connector and associated Mule runtimes also you need to make sure. So if you are working on 3.6, you need to make sure that okay, this is the suitable connector for my requirement. So because even cloud connectors also, there are a lot of enhancements will going on because of the more R&D's testing and utilized by the number of people. So a lot of support tickets will be raising to Mule actually. So
how did you go to that? How did you go to that, Vikram? I'm sorry, I did not see that.
Okay, click on help.
Okay.
Click on install new software.
Okay.
This is AnyPoint connectors update site. Okay, so which connector you want to download, and make sure that okay, currently in the industry all connectors are not there. There are nearby 200 to 250 connectors only available in the market of the MuleSoft. So I'm not saying that everything in the world is in cloud connector. It's not like that. So suppose like CRM is there. Yes, my Microsoft products have connectors, and even Oracle is having some cloud connector, like some cloud connector support is there in Mule. So that's where you need to make sure that whether the cloud connector support is there in Mule or not. You need to make sure before while you are doing your requirement related information. And based on that one, okay, if you can choose like it's a premium connector or it's a standard connector. Certified means it's a MuleSoft certified connector, but maybe by default it is displaying on the studio, but when you really deploy this application to the product system, productionalized environments, some of them will not work out, like standards or community related stuff will not work out. Only most of them premiers or some of them of the standard category will work out completely, because everything will be tightly coupled to the licensing stuff underneath. So we need to make sure that which is a freeware kind of stuff also, if you are really looking for a free connector for the production environment.
How will we know which is a free connector? Just go to MuleSoft and find
Yeah,
out.
you can go for documentation of the MuleSoft and you can get that information. That's will be there.
Okay.
So this is where you can download the extra cloud connectors according to your requirement. If you don't have any requirement to have other than the connectors are mostly, I mean, like it's cloud connector, this is cloud connector I'm speaking about, like Salesforce, Magento, NetSuite, Facebook, Twitter, Microsoft Dynamics. If I just extend something, you can see that civil connector, HL7 is like something medical related connector, EDA connector is which is introduced. AS2 means I think it's Amazon, I'm not sure. So Oracle EBS connector, so it has been introduced newly actually, Oracle e-business suite. So it's completely our in the requirement stuff, which connector we want to utilize. Otherwise, no need to download. So these are on cloud connector side, and if you go to, I'm covering on the important aspect, but you can still go through some others if really looking. Some, as I mentioned, it's an Eclipse based ID. So if you want to do some Eclipse update, so these are the some places. Like if you want to upgrade Eclipse SDK or platform something to upgraded versions, yes, you can select that and you can go for installation. The important point is like here what we utilize more for is like the runtimes, nothing but Mule server runtimes. So we have, as I mentioned, like we have two categories. One is like community runtimes, one is like enterprise runtimes. Community runtimes are nothing but free runtimes, nothing but no amount to be paid for that runtimes, even in the productionalized environments. So these are the runtimes currently. Luckily 3.7 is also out. Usually community runtimes will come very late actually. So when your enterprise is running at 1+1 more version actually, but this time it got released very fastly, and you will see only 3.4 only one, 5 is 1, 6 is 1, 7 is 1. So because community means freeware, because you will not get, MuleSoft will not get any business. So for the benefit of people, you will provide, but you will not look for anything from the market. From the market standpoint, you will not get benefit on that. Enterprise runtimes are mostly involved in the licensed stuff, and you can see that a lot of runtimes under this from 3.3 to currently 3.7.2. So these many runtimes are there. So suppose like if you want to install 3.41 or 3.6.1 or 6.2 or something like on your studio, select that particular runtime. Just go on next. So it will be the available here. That go on next. Just do an agree. Click on finish. So it's a 300 MB one, so I am not downloading. So you can click on finish, and it will be after some time. It will your studio will ask for restart. Studio restart can be done, and it will be available to your to server list actually. I'll show that I mean like in my studio how many runtimes I have, so that you will understand. Okay, once it is installed, where I can find whether that runtime is available to my studio or not. So this is one point where once you download your studio, go to this location ESB runtimes for any point studio, and make sure that 3.6.1, 6.2, 6.3 is available. Just try to download all those stuff and to your studio. That's you can do in your time. Next is if you want to do any point studio updates, still you can do this one. This is specific to the Anypoint Studio, not the Eclipse, because Eclipse is underneath to the Anypoint Studio. I have a SAP connector, so that's the reason it is showed to me something. So this section is more on to the extra additional components or functionalities want to be injected to the Anypoint Studio. It's nothing other than that. And you may have, this is installation, how I go for uninstallation. So So if once you open this screen here, so you can see that there is a point like already installed. You can click on that one. So these are the components that got installed on my studio. Suppose like you don't want to have this one on your system. Just select this and do uninstall. So this step is for uninstallation. So sometimes we may install unnecessary stuff. Because of that reason, your studio will also get impacts because all the artifacts to be loaded unnecessarily. So whatever the things you don't need, you just go and select that one, do uninstall. So this is on extra plugins setup for your studio. So Windows preferences, that is for adding Java and Maven. Help, click on install new software is for adding extra softwares to your studio. And if you are really not sure about your studio version, click on about studio, it will give you some information. Any points? Okay, I'll just create a small Mule ESB project and I'll explain you the project folder structure, and I'll show what are the different kind of stuff available for our development or for our kind of training. So to create a new project, file new, select a new Mule project. It's no more difference between any other kind of tools. Just give a name, something like that. Okay, I'm just giving the naming convention follows the purely Java standards only. So you can make sure of Java kind of naming conventions is the preferred way. And if you observe here, I have a lot of runtimes installed on my studio. That is the reason these are visible during my project creation itself. So during my project creation, during my starting stage of my project itself, I have a facility to select which runtime I can choose. But when I downloaded this studio, I have only 3.6.1. Later on, I installed a lot of other runtimes to this studio for my purpose. So that is even if you do the same kind of for the first time, if you don't install any other runtimes on your system, on your studio, you will see either 3.7.2 and 3, I believe. So that is the 3 runtimes you will see on your studio. But if you want to, if you install 3.6.2 also, you can see that that will be visible under this list. So just download that one, install that one, and when you create a project, give the project name and select the particular runtime 3.2. And next is like, as I mentioned, if you want to, as a best practice, you need to use a Mavenized project for real productionized kind of creation, but for our training, it's not required exactly. So when you click on use Maven, so this option will be visible when you have exactly Maven plugin has been installed properly onto your system. So this is a group ID. It's nothing but it's an entire, this project will be available under these folders. Next is artifact ID is nothing but your project name, and this is a version. So snapshot based versions. And this is for pom.exe, I mean nothing but Maven related configure. Nothing, you don't need to configure anything. You just only one stuff. If you want to change the namings, you can change it. There is nothing beneficial out of this point. Next is like version control system support. So you can have a Tortoise SVN or GitHub source tree, right? There are some artifacts where you you don't want to check in as a part of code control, nothing but code maintenance, because we have dart classes, you have some metadata information, some junk files also gets created when you do develop projects. So if you want to ignore those points as a part of your check-in, so you can create a .gitignore file and you can mention those points under that .gitignore file, and those will be not a part of your check-in. Really, I mean, those will not part of your code check-ins actually. Even though they are available to your project folder structures, they are available in your project, but they will not be available in your source in your version control system. It could be SVN or GitHub or source tree, something like that. This part you just, for time being, just leave it. This is completely API related. It's not mandatory step. Just only make sure runtime, really Maven related one you want, yes, and create ignore if required. Click on next. So this is the place where you can select the Java runtime. So by default, this comes with the one what you have in the studio. So otherwise, if you don't have, you can configure itself here from here. So this is high level, but no, if you want to create any new project at this point of place, any folders at this point of place, you still can do. But if you feel confusion over this point of place, you can do it later also. Click on finish. So if you see at the down, because of the Mavenized project, when it was created for the first time, it will get all the dependencies downloaded from the Maven repositories. So it will download all the artifacts, nothing but artifacts are nothing but indirectly jar files will be downloaded, and it will be available in the, if you go to C drive, this is a .m2 folder. So this is the where it will get .m2 folder. This is nothing but a repository where all the dependent jar files will be available. It's not only Mule. If you have any external jar files you download as a part of your implementation, still those jar files will be available here instead of to your exactly to the class path of your application. I mean, those will be downloaded from the net, nothing but from the external repository to your local repository, and these will be available as a part of class path to your project. This is completely Maven knowledge, so which I am not going for in depth. So it goes on, just let it go on. You can see some build successful kind of stuff. If it is build is failed, something like it is not able to download the external jars to your system. There is nothing worried about that point. It will not impact, it will not harm your project creation or your project testing or project development. So when you create a new project, this will come with this project name, and this is the canvas, and this is called as component palette. So which I'll cover just now. So first, before going to the right side part, first this is called Project Explorer or Package Explorer. So this is the project name which we have given, and if you observe here, this project structure morely resembles to the Java web-based project folder structures. So where you have a different kind of resources folders, Java related folders, testing folders, test resources folders kind of. So even this look and feel also will be the same for the Mule project, even though it is any kind of version from 3.5. I believe this is a standard folder structure which is coming for the Mule, but earlier it was a different folder structures. So I'll come to different folders now. First is like source main app. So even this everything in Mule, whatever the services we develop in Mule called Mule flows. So if I put in a simple words, how a class plays a role in Java, in the same way a flow plays in a role of in Mule. So without flows, nothing is there, nothing can be implemented. It's zero, I can say that. If there is no flow, nothing. It's zero. So whatever we developed in Mule called as flows. So that is the reason earlier this folder structure is called as flows actually. Now it has been modified like main app. So app is nothing but application, Mule applications. And before to that one, we have two scopes here. One is like source main and one is like source test. So test is nothing but test scope. Main is nothing but the application level scope. Application level in the sense like whatever the development or whatever the implementations we do as a part of Mule flows development will be available under these sections. So every section will have its own responsibility, but main is the one where all your development or implementation has been taken care. So first folder is app folder. So if you see that there will be by default one XML file will get created with the same project name called as Mule configuration file. So Mule, whatever the development or whatever the Mule flows we develop is on top of this XML file only. So if you if I close this is the file which got opened. So if you see this one, so it is having a two views. One is like XML view, one is like a graphical view. So graphical view will be available for this tab, message flow tab, and XML view will be available under the configuration XML. So if some people will not feel happy by dragging a stuff to the canvas, they will explicitly go and write that one in the code, in the XML code itself, once they are get very handy with the tool. So it's a completely developer option which way you want to do your applications development, either message flow way or but there is no change. It is in XML view, it is in graphical view. That's the only clear difference. Next, global elements I'll speak later once we do one thing. Next is like app properties. So this is like application level properties if you want to configure across your nothing but a property file for your project. So you can write some properties and read those properties within the Mule application at some point of later. So but usually we never uses Mule app properties until unless if that properties will not change across the environment. If you feel that that is kind of confidence, or if that is a kind of requirement we have, at that point of place you can have the Mule app properties configured. Otherwise you just leave empty. We can create our own property file in another location, because we will maintain the properties according to environment, right? So this is not the place where you can maintain environment based properties here. So next, deploy properties. If you want to explicitly add some kind of extra properties as a part of deployment, so here where we can configure, but it's moreover like so these folders we never do any kind of tweaking until it's really a very huddled kind of implementations. So I'll show these deployment properties what we can mention. So because one point I can easily, the use case is, so when you create when you have a .xml file, there is no limitation to have only one .xml file here. You can have any number of Mule configuration files under this folder. It is not only one file. You can have any number. You can create multiple. So in order to create one more Mule configuration file, just right click on this folder, go to new, click on Mule configuration file. So you can create one more Mule configuration file here. So this is the way where you can do a multiple .xml files, because to maintain best practice, how we write multiple classes or how we write multiple code places, right? So in the same way, that also applies for the Mule. Next is like API folder. So this is completely API related implementation. So they completely brought in new folder. Yeah.
Vikram, sorry. Go to the folder back. Did you say anything about that the bottom two files already? Mule app properties and Mule deploy properties.
Yeah, I mentioned, right? So Mule app properties is nothing but a property where you can maintain for your code, because in general we maintain a properties file for every project, right? So where you can configure to reduce it to remove the hard coding from the.
Okay.
Yeah. So Mule app properties is one place where you can configure the properties and read those properties within your Mule flows later of the point. So
okay.
But when we maintain properties file, will be environment specific. Like they will have one, I mean like one value, QA will have one value, testing you will have one value. But Mule app property will not suit for that kind of stuff, because it will not maintain the environment specific kind of. So if you feel that the properties are same across all environments, then you can configure those values at the properties. Mule app properties. Otherwise, we can create our own property file in some other location, and where we can maintain environment specific kind of stuff.
Okay.
Next is like deploy properties is moreover deployment while you are deploying your application. So suppose like I have 10 XMLs here, only 5 got developed, and I don't want other .xml files to get deployed to the server. So usually when you first time when you run your application, right? Okay, I'll tell you. I'm writing here, but so currently these are the two .xml files got appended here. Okay, suppose I don't want this to be deployed into my server. Just I'll remove that one, even though it is available in my project, but it will not deploy to the server. That's the one thing. So that kind of customization we can do, but we'll not tweak anything over here. It's a simple kind of informatic point actually.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, this is on app folder. So this is where all the development will be happening, 90%. Next is API folder. When we want to implement API related strategies from the Mule, then this is the folder, place the entry point for the application for the Mule flows. But we are not touching that one as of now. But if you want to bring an API strategy to the Mule application, so this is a folder where it will come into the picture. Next is the Java. So most of the products in the industry developed on Java, most of them. But even though still Mule ESB is also developed on top of Java with a Spring notation, nothing but Spring container kind of. So Mule is having its own container, like Mule container usually called, but it is also same as Spring container itself, and it's developed on top of Java. So there might be some places where we have to write some Java code or some business logic implementation by using the Java. So at that point of places, all the Java classes which are used as a part of development or the implementation point of place, so those all the Java classes should be available under the place called main Java. So I mean, how we do Java and everything will take care later, but you have to make sure that that Java class will be available at this location. If that is not available here, even it is available in another location of the project, then that cannot be referenced as into the Mule application. So that's one point you need to be taken care. So all the logical implemented Java classes should be part of this one. Next is like main resources. So resources are nothing but some meta information, meta files which are part of your logic implementation. It could be your property file maintenance, it could be your .wisdal, XSDs, or some extra request files which may part of your logic implementation. So all those kind of, or sometimes we may, as I mentioned, right, we may write scripts like Groovy, Python or JavaScript, or even Mule is having one kind of concept called expressions actually. So expression also we can write in some file and we can read that file. And also if you want to implement XSLTs, nothing but XML related transformation tool, so you have a .xl file. So all these are something like artifacts or explicit files or external files where they can be utilized as a part of your logic implementation. So all those files should be stored somewhere in the project, right? So this is a place where you can maintain all those artifacts or files. Is under the location called main resources. So main is nothing but it's moreover the scope involves in the development life cycle or the implementation cycle. Next is like test Java. Now if you see that we have main Java and we have a test Java. So main is for writing the logic or implementing some logic using Java. Test Java is nothing but whenever you write some code in Java, we will write JUnits out of that one. So that JUnit test classes should be available under this place. And earlier Mule doesn't have any testing frameworks actually. So they used JUnit as a testing framework for the Mule flows testing. But now they migrated to MUnit, which I mentioned in our demo. So now if you really want to test your flows without using MUnit, if you want to write still JUnits to test your Mule flows, still that is recommended and we can do that one. There is no problem in that. All those JUnit test classes should be available under the test Java. Those should not be part of main Java. That is a clear differentiation over here. Next is like test resources. So whatever the test data you are maintaining for your test classes, so those data should be available under the test resources folder. Next is mappings. So mappings moreover looks at the, as I mentioned one point like data mapper in Mule. So it's a very GUI level transformation tool. So when you use a data mapper, a .graph file will get created actually, .graphical file. So that specific folder will come under this mappings folder. So it's actually data mapper is a not Mule product. They got acquired here. So and it's an extra plugin to the studio, right? But by default it comes with the studio. But whatever the artifacts gets created by the data mapper will be available under the mappings folder of the project. Next is like reference library, extra libraries, JRE, Mule server related libraries. So this is the source section. Again, what we spoke over here, that's the same one. Target is nothing but when you create a Mule package here. So this is the target, and when you have a Java classes which are running the dot classes file set, everything will be available here. So this is the target, means nothing but all the artifacts, generated artifacts from your source. Next, Mule project.xml. So this is the where uh, you can do some kind of tweaking. Suppose like you developed a project on 3.6.2, but you want to migrate that code to 3.7.2. So you no need to recreate the entire project on the 3.7.2. You just go and do the runtime change here. So you can, I'm going for 3.7 here. That's it. So it will have an updated version with the 3.7.2. But if any components got deprecated in earlier version, will directly visible over here. Like, okay, this is a component got deprecated. So now if you see that my project runtime made to 3.7.0, I have not done any recreation of the code, everything like that. It's a simple change. So that's if you want to migrate your code to a different runtime, yes, you can do directly. And this domain by default, it is default. The naming is itself is default. So its domain is nothing but on your server there are different kind of domains will be available. So but from 3.7.72 I believe domain concept they introduce very aggressively, but till 3.7 so domain is a default, is a common one. Even if you go for MMC, you will see only the default as a domain. And if you want to create any environment variables some specific variable not from your property file, and this should be applied for at the server level, yes, you can do that kind of configuration at this point of place if you have any. So I'm going back to same runtime what I have. So next is pom.xml. So when we create a Maven-based related projects, like while we are creating the project, when we select the option called use Maven, so this is the pom.xml file will get generated. So with the versions and all, this is the three things which we have seen. The only important aspect here is like what is the packaging style for your Mule project. So the packaging style is called Mule packaging style, but in general it is a .zip file actually. So when you do a .zip write to your to a folder like using 7-zip or utility, it comes in a .zip. But in the same way, Mule project also uh, I mean like can be packaged to a .zip, but the underneath the packaging style will be different. So when you unzip that project by using 7-zip, it will not come in a fruitly manner. It will all the artifacts will, I mean like the folder structures will get disturbed. So Mule has its own packaging style called Mule packaging style, but the extension is .zip only. So this is the one point where you need to be very clear. So packaging style, but I'll show that one once we create a project, how we can import Mule archive files to project, how we export the existing projects to a .zip. So I'll show that one in later of the sessions. So I'm not covering these build cycles of the POM. So this is a section where I think you guys are already aware, but dependency. Suppose like I'm developing a new application. I have some requirement to depend on external jars actually. It could be JSON parsing jar. It's something like a DOM, not DOM exactly. So some jars which are not available by default from the Mule application, Mule Studio. At that point of place, what I'll do, I'll drag that, I'll download that jar, I'll append for my class path of the project. So in order to do those kind of steps, get the Maven dependency of that jar file, add it over here at this point in the dependency section of the pom.xml. Just run that pom.xml by right-clicking your project. Say that update project dependencies. So it will download the existing dependency to your jar. Let me give 1 minute. Okay. I have one thing. Let me download this one. Sorry, 1 second. I don't have any. First tab. I'm looking for one more pom.xml which I've done for yesterday. Okay. Okay, let me go for you. So just I go for Maven repository. Just I want to download one JSON related stuff. So this is a dependency section. Just I'll copy. I'll go here. I'll go to my pom.xml. Just I'm going right click and updating. So it builds success. Sorry. Yeah, you can see that this jar file got downloaded to my local repository to M2 folder, and it is available to the class path of the project. I've just done a simple job adding that dependency section to pom.xml file. So this is a easy maintenance of the code actually. So because Mule comes with a Maven related approach, otherwise some projects will use Ant based, because mostly the build scripts, build.xml file and build.properties. In the same way, you can use Maven tool for that one, or you can call the Maven pom.xml from the Ant scripts. That is also can be done. So it's completely your integration approach, how you want to deploy the applications to the productionalized environments. So either you can use Maven simply, or you can write build scripts to call this Maven, because Mule packaging style can be created by using pom.xml only, which is coming by default with the Mule project. So you can't create Ant scripts for directly without having the Maven. So you have to make sure that pom.xml can be configured directly from Ant scripts if you want to go for. Otherwise, if you do a Jenkins integration, so we can directly call these pom.xml files, I mean general pom.xml files for a project. It's completely, I'm telling this, what is, I'm not like deployment role I'm speaking, but only one point as a developer we should be concerned is like the packaging style of the mail, and what are the dependencies you want to add extra. If you don't have pom.xml file, if you don't recommend that, if you don't want to use that one, if you are depending on external jar files, just you have to make sure that that is available to the class path of the project. So this is on the folder structure. Next, I'm coming to the right part. This is a canvas, so where all the development will happening. So nothing to, we'll start later, but this is the place where you do entire development. Next is the connectors. In the palettes, we have different kind of categories here: connectors, scopes, components, transformers, filters, flow controls, error handling. So connectors are nothing but, if you it speaks about the two things, like if you want to connect to any protocol level systems, or you want to connect to business system. Suppose if you see here, we have a protocol level: HTTP is there, IMAP is there, JMS, you have POP3, Quads, RMI, SFTP, SMTP, TCP, WebSphere MQ, Web Service Consumer, so FTP database. So these are nothing but different kind of systems where you have a protocol level like HTTP, database, JDBC, IMAPS or JMS related protocol. Apart from that one, if you want to connect to Amazon systems, you can use this connector. Amazon SQL system, simple queue system, you can use this one. If you want to connect to SAP system, you can use this connector. If you want to connect to MongoDB, you can use this connector. Magento system, you can use this kind of connectors. In the same way, you can, if you want to connect to Salesforce, you can use this kind of connectors actually. Why? Because Mule come up with Salesforce, Magento, MongoDB, because these are very widely used connectors in the Mule. So that is the reason by default they provided in the Studio palette. Otherwise, I mean, it's not saying that you don't have the support for others. Still, you can download them as the steps which I showed earlier, and you can make them available under the connector section. Once you download it, it will available according to that functionality, and it will inject to the particular place of the palette. So this section is called completely component palettes. Connectors are nothing but moreover what are the kind of protocols what we use. So we have this one. So you can see that still Facebook connector is also available. Twitter will be there. Next is like scopes. Scopes are moreover like kind of I mean, in general scope, okay, you have a published scope, so everything can be accessed everywhere. So in the same way, we have different kind of scopes here. One is like caching scope. If you want to run some portion of the flow in another thread, and whatever the logic has been implemented will want to be not part of your requested thread, then you can use the async scope. And batch is more onto the ETL job. Still, Mule supports for the ETL related implementations where you can process large data. It could be file, it could be database. So that kind of support is that can be achievable using the batch concept. So it has its own inbuilt caching mechanism. So you have transactional scope, you have for each scope, you have enriching scope. So everything, I mean, like scope is nothing but something can be performed under that layer and which will not be available for the entire flows. So this is the one thing. And as I mentioned, right, flow, everything what we developed in Mule called flows. So this is the one. So without dragging the flow or without implementing any flow, you can't do any kind of logic on the canvas. Next is like components. Components are nothing but it involves in the lifecycle object of the Mule container, nothing but it has a capability to get the Mule event, Mule context object underneath to that. So that is the reason we have some different components. And if you observe, some of the components are also available in transformer section in the next one, but there is a clear-cut differentiation to both of them, which will cover while we are doing the implementations by using these two, and what exactly the difference we use to see when to use component, when to use transformer, and is there any way to create our own custom components by using Groovy, by using Java, or by using scripts. We can, yes, definitely we can create our own custom components where we can get the Mule context object reference, and where we can do that. So transformers, this is the place where you can see that lot of transformers available. So different kind of data formats conversions will happening, like object to XML, XML to JSON, XML to DOM, XML to object, object to string, byte array to string, or even I mentioned data mapper, right? So this is also part of transformers. So there are a lot of out of functionalities uh, provided by default in the palette. So I mean, like, we'll not cover entire stuff, but we'll cover some of the important ones in this. So for as a part of training. So, but transformers are more or mentioned for converting of the data formats from A to B. Next is filters. So filters are nothing but one kind of flow controllers. So I mean, like, one kind of condition evaluators. So you have, if you feel that if unless this condition is get satisfied, then only my request has to be served, or request has to go further in the Mule flow. So if that is the manner, yes. If you have that kind of requirements, yes, this is a place where you can use the filters. So you have different kind of filters can be utilized. And still you can write your custom filters. So by implementing the abstract filter interface, you can write your own custom filter implementations. Next is flow controllers. Flow controllers, which is one of the important one. So flow controllers are nothing but condition evaluators. Based on the condition evaluator, the flow has to go to different branches. So you have choice. You have the scatter gather, which I mentioned, something like parallel kind of natures. If you want to bring, yeah, this is the where we can do that point. And you have some splitters aggregators. So splitters aggregators also play some role of batching related. Suppose you want to process, you got 100 XML data, 100 XML, and you want to process individually, because every request, you want to do some condition check, or either you want to do some extra concatenation to one of the value in the XML node or in the XML element. So at that point of place, you have the requirement to get a reference of each element of each XML data and to do some logic. So if that is the case, you can do some kind of splitter technologies, and at the end you can cumulatively collect all the 100 XML's response, and to the next we can go further to the flow. So these kind of implementations can be done. Yeah. So different kind of splitters are there, but everything has its own function. I mean, like moreover, the functionality was same, but the kind of at what point of place we need to use will be the difference. That's it. And we have different kind of strategies like choice with catch, choice. If you want to implement your own custom exception strategy, still that is always there. And you have rollback exception if you bring some transactional natures. Yes, these are the different kind of strategies can be implemented, but based on required stuff. At what point of place you want to implement, that can be utilized, but everything will not be injected at every point of place. So any doubts, I mean, like any points to be brought it up?
No, I think that was a pretty good session. The only thing is, once we start, we'll know all the stuff because
Exactly, yeah. Because I want. Yes, sorry.
Yeah. No,
so it's actually more. Okay.
It was good. It was pretty good for that matter. Yeah, once we start doing everything, then story starts. So
Yeah. Agreed.
Vikram.
Yeah.
Vikram Naresh here. I have one.
Yeah.
I have one. I just started doing some practice actually by getting some data from net. Okay. When I'm getting some error message. I'll just paste you that in the communicator.
Mm-hmm.
You got it, right?
So you are trying to connect to ActiveMQ. So it is saying that class form not exception, right?
I tried getting the jar file.
No. You are trying to do a ActiveMQ integration, JMS.
Yeah.
So when you do this kind of stuff, you need to add the ActiveMQ jar to your class path.
Yeah, that I did it. Shall I share?
Still, yeah. 1 second. Okay. Before that one, just I'll finish off for today because you guys have some issues, right? So I'll stop this one. Okay. Give me 1 minute. I'll go for that. So with today, actually, I thought of covering some part here, but I'm not able to. So because mostly theoretical part, what we have covered today is most to give the flavor of studio and functionality of the studio. So this is what we covered today. So probably tomorrow we'll start on exactly on the Mule. Tomorrow some theoretical will be there because context object, Mule message object, everything will be there. So we can have some theory, but later on that one we can develop a small applications and I'll show that how to run and deploy testing of that application tomorrow morning, IST. So just I'm stopping for today with this one. Is that fine?
yeah, that's fine. So what all we need to install other than the studio? You said, do we need to get Maven and all those things too?
See, for practice purpose, it is not recommended at all because Maven is a different technology to be learned. But Mule recommends to have a Mavenized project for your productional environments. But for our training, we are not production environments, right? So it's completely different.
But just will you be able to show us how we do it later, even if we don't install them?
No, I showed already how to create a Maven project, how to add a dependency in the pom.xml.
No. You showed me all that stuff, but I don't have a project to even. And I mean, It's basically like we don't have the code, then you're already into deployment, so it's tough to envision that. That's I understand it probably is the same thing, even if you show it later.
Yeah, I mean, like in one of the projects, yes, we can do that. Because see, moreover, what we do is, right, we add the dependencies in this. We will not do anything other than that here.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Once we have the studio ready and once we have the code, probably if you can just show us how is the how do we set up? Probably at that time it makes more sense.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks.
Okay, first Naresh, you want? Okay. I think Naresh, I've given the request to presenting. Did you get that? Naresh?
Yeah, Vikram. Just trying like which button I have to.
No, I think you should get some explicit request, I believe, because click on the desktop button icon if you have something like that.
I didn't get it. Become the presenter to start sharing your screen, but it is disabled.
Okay, one second. Which one I need to? Because I have two things to here. Okay, one second. Make mute Naresh. Okay. Now see here.
Oh, it is asking me to download some.
Oh, okay.
Taking longer time to come. You're able to.
Yep. It's loading. Yep.
Yeah, it's too slow.
It's gone, I believe, again.
Now you're able to see.
Yep.
I'll just close this. It says the password. This is the section. This is the result code.
Yeah, it's loading slowly actually. Yeah, I'm seeing this exception, but can you show me your flow? So can you open that JMS? JMS. Okay, go to configuration. You need to configure the queue name, and oh, you already see. One thing is like see HTTP. Okay, you mentioned JMS transaction action not supported. Why? Can you go to connector? Local 61616. Okay. Okay. Active MQ local. You didn't give the queue name 1 point. And one more thing is like, can you show me the jar file which you added?
5.5.1. Actually, I have both 5.
Yeah, you have ActiveMQ all jar. That's fine. And I believe your ActiveMQ is up and running, right?
I don't know how to check that. That is what I read out here.
Okay, go to your ActiveMQ. Yeah, double click.
This is the one.
Now, go to your ActiveMQ folder. Yes. Which one you are using? Go to bin.
Under bin. ActiveMQ.
Yours Windows 32 or 64-bit system?
32-bit. It's a 32.
Okay, go to 32.
Yeah.
No, cancel. No, cancel.
Terminate.
Yes. 32. Windows 32 folder.
Okay.
You have Windows 32 folder. Okay, open this one in command prompt. 1 second, let me know. Okay, yeah. You can give localhost 8161.
Oh. Where?
In the browser, give localhost 8161. I hope you hit it in. Sorry? Yeah.
It got added.
Yeah, you can click on Manage ActiveMQ Broker. No, on the browser itself.
Okay.
Yeah, this is, you can, if you want to go to queues, you can create queues. If you want to create topics, click on Topics tab.
Now, shall I run that flow?
Yeah, now I need to go for configuration. No, go to your JMS connector configuration. No, don't run.
No, I just. Okay, I'll just double click on the JMS.
Yeah. Just can you expand this bigger? Okay. Go to transaction type. Select no, something like that. No transaction. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Click on edit button on the beside the connector. You have a plus symbol and you have edit symbol over there. Yeah. You have to provide username password. Admin. Save. In the queue, select the queue or topic. Anyone?
Demo.
Yeah, you can give any name. Yeah. Save. Now, okay. Can you expand your reference library? Okay, ActiveMQ all jar is there. Okay, it is there. Okay, okay, fine. And also the address queue topic or manually exclusive. So did you give that? Go to advanced.
No, what is the queue name and port he gave is different from what I saw.
Okay, again you have here different. Please unselect this one connector. Just don't select anything. Keep it empty. Go to general. No, general tab. So you have connector configuration here. Just make sure that you can connect here itself. That is fine. No need of multiple places because there are two ways to connect. Give information either at the first screen or at the advanced screen. So you can give queue name and connector config because you created multiple connectors actually. So and you referred multiple connectors at 2 point of places in the same endpoint. And moreover, directly when you have HTTP immediately to JMS, right? So I think it will not work out because of the internal server issues. But anyway, don't run with, oh, you have directly with Maven. Okay. You can disable Maven. Every time it will load entire Maven stuff.
Oh, jars, right?
Yeah, for every time it's not
That
required.
can, it's taking longer time to load it.
Yeah, you can disable, you can right click and disable Maven, and you can have directly run as Mule application.
Sure. I'll test this. Okay. If I still have a doubt, like with the same addresses.
Yeah, we can have tomorrow discussion on that.
I'll
But
do
directly, if you even, I'm not sure it will work out because HTTP. Because I'm going forward in some sessions. I want to tell what will happen when you have HTTP, what the tweakings we need to take care. But anyway, once we have tomorrow session, you will get to understand about that. But configuration wise, that is correct. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. You can close your present. Okay. I'm taking presenters control from you.
No, it's almost done, I guess.
Okay. Just wait. It is not yet running. Go to console, Mule Studio console. Is it up and running or what's it? Yep, it is coming now. Can you double click on the console?
The same ones.
Yeah. So the ActiveMQ you are running and the jars what you added the same version?
It is the, if you see here.
It is only not able to get the.
Active
So this is the one.
one. Okay. I'm on
Which server you are running?
I just ran this 5.5.
5.5.1 only. ActiveMQ all jar. That should be the fine. Can you go to Back Studio? ActiveMQ. No. This is the one. Okay. Fine. ActiveMQ all dot jar apache.
No, I'm sorry, Vikram. On the MQ, active MQ configuration, is that port correct? Whatever he gave on the JMS.
Yeah, 61616. Yeah. But in browser we will open 8161. But if you see that protocol, it is TCP. So TCP localhost 6161. It will work out.
I see.
For the connectivity, it will look like. So usually ActiveMQ all jar is fine for this one. It's nothing other than that one. Okay. Only the version capability is the one point I need to see. Do you have an option to give me control? Can you drag somewhat right? Double click on console. Yeah. Configuration wise, that is well and good. Okay, and one more thing, can you click on HTTP? Sorry. Yeah. It is giving that class is not found. Yeah, HTTP. Okay, yes.
Actually, it is 8081, but the port is already used, so I made it as 8084.
Yeah, no problem. Give some path. Type some path. No slash.
It's fine.
Yeah, click on OK. Save and once stop in console and run it. Okay, I'll do one. I'll tell one thing. Can you give me control? I think you have the option to give me control. I'll tell you one thing. Can you see that? How to give control to me?
Stop sharing.
No, don't stop sharing. Yeah, go to some. Go to settings. That settings button something. Yeah. That desktop button. Click on desktop button. At that point of place, you have anything. Again, it got. Yeah. So there is no option to give me the control. Okay, leave it. Go to studio. I know that. I'll go to the studio. I'll tell you one thing. Go to studio. Right. Yeah. No. Right click on your project and right click on your project. Stop this one. Stop and right click on your project. Not here. The Mule project name. The folder structure.
Stop up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Right click. Go to. Sorry. What happened?
You don't able to see?
Yeah. Go to validate. Go to configure. Deploy to any plan. Okay. This is came with like this.
Okay.
Team validator run as debugger. Go to by default product XML. Go to run configurations. No, what my doubt was like while you are running Maven, right? So these jars are not getting downloaded actually. Even though you added explicitly to your class path, they're not there part of your Maven dependency. You got my point?
Yeah, got it.
So when you're doing run as Maven project, what it is saying like it is downloading all the dependencies from the Mavenized project, from the Maven pom.xml, but these active MQs are not part of that one because active MQs you wrote explicitly. I mean you injected explicitly, right? So that is the reason I'm looking at. I mean like removing the Maven support for your project actually. So that's the only one thing I'm looking. So if you able to go to Maven option, first one. No, click on no. The first tab, Maven.
Which one?
In the same screen, Maven. No, with the screen which you opened just now on the configure one. Right click. No. Yeah.
Nice configuration.
Yeah. Go to this one. No. Run as. Okay. Run configurations. So Maven. Okay, you have Maven commands only. Okay, do one thing. So this is you have a problem. 1 second. Give me a time. I'll tell you. So while creating project, you check the use Maven button.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you use Maven based projects, all the dependencies should be happen from the pom.xml. So you should not add explicitly the jars to the class path. It's not the way. So Maven means everything should be in pom.xml. Other than Maven means you can add explicitly in this way and you can do the testing. That can be achievable. Either of the one kind of option we need to choose actually.
So do we need to verify in the competition?
Yeah, you need to add that. That is actually what the problem here is happening is like you added explicit jar files other than pom.xml file. While you are running the project, you are clicking run as Maven project. So that's a clear difference. So you need to add the dependencies for ActiveMQ all jar.
So now what? How we can solve this?
See, that's what I'm saying. You need to get the ActiveMQ dependency, or either of the way, create a new project without Maven support and do the same configuration and try to test it.
That I'm able to do that. But one thing is like, see, that worked out for me. See, I have already created one JMS, HTTP JMS tutorial. That is working. But using the Maven, I'm not able to do that. It is getting failed. Actually, in our project, there we are using Maven, so I need the Maven supported training.
Okay, let me give the active depend. See, what I'm saying is like you need to get the Maven dependency for the ActiveMQ. Sorry?
Shall I close this project and create one more?
No, no, that is not the problem. So what I'm saying is like, so I mean, you are aware of MQ, I mean like pom.xml files and all those stuff? Are you aware of that?
No, actually.
Okay, that's, I mean like, see, if you, the point is like, when you create a Mavenized projects, all the explicit jar files need to be added to the pom.xml, nothing but their dependencies. Okay, what I'm trying to say is like, you need to add that jar file via the MQ, via the Maven dependency. Let me give that syntax to you. So just I'm pasting in chat, try to understand what I'm telling you. So if you see chat, it's not yet come. One second, sorry. Okay, see, this is what I mean to say. I added here, there is a dependency section, you have ActiveMQ core. In the same way, whatever the version you are using for your ActiveMQ server, that jars need to be added to the pom.xml. But it is 5.2.0, it is not 5.1.1 which you are using. So try to get that dependency and add it to your pom.xml file under the dependency section.
Okay. Okay.
Because yeah, you can try this one and problem. It's not with the project. Okay.
So
you need to have that. Sorry.
Shall I add it here in the?
Yes, you can add it there under somewhere. Yeah, add it there. Now, if you observe, it is 5.2 version, but you need to get the exactly 5. Version related one.
Okay.
And also, I'm not sure whether core will contain everything. You need to get for ActiveMQ all, because ActiveMQ all will contain everything about that actually.
That is true actually.
So that, I mean, just have given that jar for you because that dependency, because to just make you, I mean, like what the thing you need to do.
We can ignore this. The word ActiveMQ is not correctly spelled.
Where?
Yeah, like I just added the dependency right here. The XML component.
Yeah.
We can ignore it or?
Which one? Artifact ID?
Yeah.
I mean, no need to. I mean, like I mean, you no need to. I mean, you should not ignore that. What's the version you are using? 5.5?
5.5.1. ActiveMQ 5.5.1. Okay. Shall I add like this, like ActiveMQ or 5.5.1?
See, I have given something in chat. Open chat.
Okay.
Remove that core and add this one.
It's getting delayed actually for you.
Sorry?
It's getting delayed for you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can add that dependency because the Maven dependency will take a lot of time actually. So you can add that one, try to test it, because that is the only clear reason actually. Okay.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah. You try it out. If still you're struggling with that one, we'll see tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Vikram, can I ask one question?
Yeah, sure.
Can you stop, please?
Regarding
You can stop. Yeah. Sorry.
my studio is not running, right? It looks like
Yes,
it needs a 64-bit Java version. Probably because it's not getting it, it's failing. So if I
Okay.
download
Okay.
if I get that 64-bit, how do I change Studio to look at that new path?
I mentioned, right? If you okay, let me share my screen. Able to see my screen?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. For you, Naresh, so whenever you are stuck up with, if you don't know the dependency, just type that entity name, say Maven dependency. Okay, just not only for ActiveMQ, it is for any kind of software. Okay, you will get that dependency based on the version you are looking for. Just select that version and get this dependency. Copy paste to pom.xml.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, I mentioned in the starting, like Windows preferences. If you expand Java, click
Oh
on install
no.
JREs.
It's not going that far. It's not even starting.
Okay, so then, okay, the one thing is like you need to make sure your Java home is set to the new 64-bit. Once you install your Java to your system, right? You need to install. You need to make sure that Java home, again restart will be required. And once you restart it, on the command prompt type Java_home. What version it is looking for, that one. You need to make sure that your Java home has to be set to 64-bit.
How do you start it? You're saying you're starting from command prompt?
No, what I'm saying to you is like now you install your Java 64-bit. That's what you're mentioning, right?
Correct.
Did you set that as a Java home?
Oh, you mean environment variable on the laptop?
Exactly.
Okay.
Once you set environment variable, on the command prompt, when you type Java echo %Java_home, try to see that whether the newly configured path is coming or not. Okay. If that is not coming, explicitly from the command prompt, use the set command. Set Java_home is equal to the new path, 64-bit one.
Okay.
If still that is not reflecting, try to do a restart. Sometimes restart might works. Okay. Do that one. If that is, then Java home has been again once your restart is once your laptop is restarted, try go to command prompt and type Java home once again and see that the new path is coming or not.
Okay.
My intention is like your Java home has to read from the new path, not from the old.
Okay.
That's a point.
Okay. Yeah. I'll try that. Thanks.
Yeah, sure. So any other questions for you, Naresh?
No, I don't have any, but do we have a class again in a few hours? Is that?
No, actually today we don't have any because this is unplanned session for me for this weekend. So I have some other personal stuff to be taken care.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure. So tomorrow morning for my time we don't have any class, but it will be when? When is the next one?
Tomorrow morning 7 a.m. IST.
Your tomorrow morning. So that.
Sorry.
7 a.m. Naresh.
I think it's she said in the evening.
She said in the evening.
But
she said me in the
morning. No. He is saying IST, India time. That is your evening only, Naresh.
Naresh is from US only, I believe, not from India.
Hey, no, I'm from India.
Sorry?
Sorry?
No, I think he said evening.
No, I'm saying 7 a.m. IST.
Okay.
Naresh, is that correct or did you got some other timing?
Okay, it's okay. Yeah.
So you are from India or you are from US?
No, I'm basically from Hyderabad.
Oh, okay. Okay. Can you check with Nilma actually on that? Because she said me like in the morning session only you guys are all looking from in the morning time only. I mean IST morning.
Actually, she said that.
Yeah,
Okay, check with her because I'm not. Nilima, are you there?
yeah. See, Sunday we'll have from next weekend. Sunday we'll have 2 sessions. That is morning one session and evening one session. And Monday to Friday we'll have 1.5 hour of session from 7 to 8:30.
It's in the morning or it's in the evening of IST.
IST morning.
Yeah, sure.
When you create a Maven project, the jar should be available in the dependency. Even if you add explicitly to the class path, it will not take actually.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Naresh. Have a good day. Have a nice weekend. Thanks for all your time.
Thanks.
Thanks, Uday.
Thank
Thanks.
you all.
Thanks.